Just
Hey, boys and girls. Weather report for the 16th of April.
Yo and hello.
Yeah, hey guys. I have no idea what year it is. I forgot. Anyway, on the screen we're just reviewing a book and trying to figure out what happened to Midnight.
He bailed. He does that. He'll bail 1 second and be back in another minute.
Anyway, we're just trying to figure out how Midnight wants to be more like Lucy. So we were looking for clues in this developing brain. And the interesting
Lucy, the movie with Scarlett Johansson, not Lucy the Australopithecus.
Right. Yeah. Scarlett Johansson. He wants to be more like Scarlett. And yeah, that would be good. I'd love it. I would appreciate more Scarlett Johanssons in the world. I watched that movie and she was the only thing I could see, and I had to shut my brain off because it was so fucking bad. I've never seen anything so bad in my life. Anyway, I have talked about that before.
Have you seen her movie Under the Skin?
Oh yes, yeah, that was pretty good.
That's a brilliant movie.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, she's been in a lot of stuff. She started out when she was like a kid, right? Yeah, really
I remember her being in The Horse Whisperer, but she'd been in stuff before that. But that's only the first one I remember her being in.
Yeah. Quite a career, that one. And it's always good to see when they actually cross over and keep making money after they're 18 instead of becoming drug addicts and disappearing from everybody's radar. Because Hollywood abuses the kids a little bit, especially the popular ones. You know, they're super popular and then they just get screwed. You know, just they mess them up somehow. Good to see the ones that cross over and have a career out of it. I was looking at some clips from the first Star Wars and Harrison Ford. Holy fuck, was he young?
Yeah, you know, a lot of people used to be young.
Yeah. That just blows me away because it doesn't seem like that long ago when I went and saw that movie in the theater when it came out. And now, you know, now I look at him, he's an old man, and then I walk in and look at my bathroom mirror and it's like, who the fuck is that guy?
Well, I remember him from a episode of Gunsmoke. He was like
Really?
a featured character actor. You know, kind of the episode was centered around him, and yeah, he was a little bit younger then, but not much younger.
When did Gunsmoke end?
Sometime in the mid to late 70s, maybe. I don't know.
Really? It ran that long?
It ran a long time. It ran like from that half-hour Marshall Dillon TV show in the 50s. But, you know, it was a radio show before that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It was pretty much like I was really young when I watched Gunsmoke.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I stopped watching it, I think probably in my teenage years. But what's the name? Arness?
James Arness, yeah.
Matt Dillon. He is the brother of the guy from Mission Impossible, Peter
Graves.
Yeah.
Basically, he had to change his name to Peter Graves because of James Arness's notoriety.
Yeah, and they grew up in Minneapolis, not too far from me. Like, I think in the downtown Minneapolis area. And the Coen brothers are from here, too. which surprised me. But it surprised me that those two were brothers and that nobody ever said anything. Interesting. Anyway, brain development is pretty cool. But we were originally looking at bone development. I had a picture. I just sometimes I just grab a picture, and the weather report is not really going to be about the picture. So today I had a picture of bones because I was working and thinking about bones.
Bones.
So I typed in. I don't know if that works, Scott. I typed in.
You try things out. You try them out.
Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Well, I guess. Yeah. We'll go with that.
It works because he's a hyena.
Yeah.
The hyenas like bones.
Yeah. I got a lot of four-legged creatures on this channel. I typed in debone and then went to images and picked out there were some really bad ones for debone, and mostly deboning fish and chicken. So I decided not to do that, and I went with just picture of bones. So the show's not going to be about bones, and it's probably not going to be about this book, because I really don't have much. Oh, I do want to say I've been looking at the debates that may or may not happen with Cell and no, that's a different one. I've been looking at the John Maddox thing where Cell and CRISPR and Maddox and CRISPR talked. And the most stunning thing was you watch the whole 2 hours of CRISPR and John Maddox talking. And John Maddox is treating CRISPR in this arrogant, condescending manner. And then Cell Cordova comes on, and Cell has like great respect for CRISPR, and he will not challenge him on hardly anything. And so it turns out to be kind of an interesting and good conversation that was tolerable. And I think that shows that Cell's about 100 times smarter than John Maddox. Don't you?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think so. And then after I was having all these good feelings about Cell, I went over to what was that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just got a notification about video released of a police shooting.
Oh no, another. What was that one?
Oh, I don't know. It was a notification, so I didn't open it to read it, or it was actually a link to a damage report from the Young Turks.
Did you hear about that shooting last night? Another 8 people at a FedEx building were killed.
I thought I saw something in my RSS about that, but
yeah, there was another mass shooting last night in Indianapolis at a FedEx, some sort of FedEx office, and 8 people were killed. And plus the shooter, they didn't list him as one of the victims. So there were 9 people altogether dead. He killed himself, came in with a rifle and shot 8 people. And this is, what is that, the 3rd or 4th one we've had in about a 2-week period, 2 or 3 weeks? I mean, what in the hell are... I mean, that's getting popular enough that we're all gonna, like, it's gonna happen in all of our cities pretty quick. It's just like, what the fuck is going on? What is up with that? I mean, why does a person do something like that? What are they thinking?
And why are we the only country with that particular problem?
Yeah, we seem to have it a hell of a lot more, and I don't understand that. And it's probably because, I don't know, there are so many of us and we're so different. We have so many different little types of people and groups. I don't know, maybe that's it, variation. And I don't know. I don't understand what's going on. It's almost like, why would they do it? When they're thinking about it, are they thinking, oh, I watched that mass shooter last week and I want to be like him? When I grow up, I want to be just like that guy that blew his head off or got shot by the cops after killing a whole bunch of people and getting massive national attention. But the thing is, I don't remember the name. I think there's that Dylan guy that was involved in that first school shooting, Claiborne or something. I don't know what his name. I mean, normally you don't remember the shooter's name anyway, right?
Right. And they try to play that down because they don't want the person becoming a hero of sorts.
Yeah. So I don't really know any of the mass shooters. I don't know. I remember Osborne from the 60s. You know, he was famous, but was that even his name? I don't know. Anyway, I remember Kennedy, but yeah, I don't know what the guy that shot him. So I don't know what the fuck they're, you know, what are they doing and what good is it doing them? I mean, what is the point? It's just like, I don't get it. And then of course, you know, I had a personal experience with somebody who decided to commit suicide and kill somebody first. So what is the thinking behind taking somebody with you? Or like people that shoot their families, you know? And it's like somewhere, somehow somebody should interview one of these motherfuckers, you know, that have survived and try to figure out what the thinking process that goes into it is. Because I can't imagine why, if you were suicidal, you would do any more than take your own life. Why you would try to hurt somebody else. This doesn't make any goddamn sense to me. I don't know.
Well, I think the CDC tried to make gun shootings and such like that part of their studies, but they were prevented by the either the Bush administration, or I think it was the Bush administration, shut them down on that. It might have been Trump's. I can't remember how long ago that was.
I know Trump shut down a few investigations into that sort of thing, but I mean that is a real something that we really need to study and figure out whether or not we can predict it, you know, and maybe talk to these people to the point where we identify that they're out there on the edge. Of course, you know, the same thing with suicide. You know, it would be good to figure out why people just suddenly kill themselves to begin with, because that's part of it, right? These people all decide to die, you know, or to give their lives up, and in the process kill other people. So just suicide itself is something worth knowing more about. I know a little bit about what it feels like to do that sort of thing. And all I remember of it is anger, feeling sorry for myself, to the point where I got really angry. And then toward the end, it was like I had this feeling that I was a bad dog and I had to take myself out and kill me, you know. That's
a very low place to be.
Yeah, yeah. And
so were you referring to the University of Texas tower shooter earlier?
Oh, no.
Because you said something about Oswald.
Oswald is who I meant, not Oswald. See, I forgot Oswald's name. Isn't that great? I actually forgot Oswald's name.
Was the guy I was thinking of was the tower shooter in the 60s, Charles Whitman, but he had a big brain tumor going on.
Yeah.
I mean, it was horrible, and he had very strategic thinking. But he was beset by a tumor. I don't know what these other folks' reasons are.
And he was like the first one that did that, and then it didn't happen for a long time. My sister-in-law was in an insurance building right not far from the campus in Austin, and she was watching the puffs of smoke go up when they were shooting. And then we heard about the tower shooting. And I was actually out there when I was a teenager, and I drove around, and they had little crosses, and they had, you know, you could see the bullet holes in the tower and all that shit. It was really interesting. But then it didn't happen for a long time. That was like one of the first mass shootings we had that, you know, made the news, right?
Yeah. Mass shootings and mob hits. I just wonder, you know, if they differentiate those, because like, didn't several people get killed at the St. Valentine's Day massacre in Chicago? Do they consider that a mass shooting?
Yeah. Well, it was, you know, gang oriented or crime, you know. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't random. It wasn't a random shooting of zillions of people. However, I think a lot of times these mass shootings have people like particular people in mind, but they still do shoot random people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that the feeling of, as I remember, the feeling of wanting to kill myself was involved in a combination of self-pity and horrible anger at life itself, at life in the universe. This horrible anger at how badly things were going, and being angry about it. And the anger internalized and became suicidal. And for some people, it doesn't internalize completely, right? So they don't just kill themselves, they kill others. So, I mean, that kind of hopelessness. And, I had no reason to be that hopeless when I was hopeless, other than the drug addiction and the alcohol. But, it was just a screwed up brain that was out to kill itself, just not functioning. And I don't know how you get around that, other than to convince people that it is really easy to change your attitude toward life. So one thing we can change just in a moment. You can look at the oh fuck, I hate to use that, but donut instead of the hole. You start being grateful for the fact that you got to be it all, and it becomes impossible for you to kill yourself or hurt yourself. And I think and it would also be impossible to hurt other people too if you felt that way. So I don't know. But fuck, it's just like I'm really concerned that we've had so many mass shootings in the last few weeks coming out of the pandemic, Just
what I see is most people have this emotional pain, and that's one of the ways they deal with it.
Yeah, you get angry because of the pain. Like if you stub your toe.
If they don't know how to relieve themselves from the pain, it just gets worse on them or something, and so they act out, I guess. Emotions are one of the strong motivations for doing stuff, I guess.
Yeah. And the idea of getting rid of guns in the United States, it ain't gonna work ever. There's no way to collect them all. There's no way to scrape them all up and put them in a truck and get rid of them. It ain't gonna happen. I mean, if we could do it, if we could actually cleanse ourselves entirely of guns, so we had no black market guns coming in, fine. But we ain't gonna do it. Ain't gonna happen. Not in this.
I don't know if it's about the guns. It should be about our mental health.
Yeah, I
if
think
we had
so.
a sound mental health programs and stuff to help people get through their emotions or think better, so they wouldn't be using their emotions or something like that.
Yeah.
The day they ban guns is the day I start teaching classes about how to take $30 to a hardware store and build your own.
Yeah.
They already 3D stuff. So.
I grew up in farm country, and I shot a rabid skunk with a gun, and we shot dogs that got hit on the road and they were suffering, and you had to humanely end their lives. And there were all sorts of, we shot animals to eat, and we went out deer hunting, and there were all sorts, and we protected ourselves a little bit with guns. Everybody knew that everybody had a gun. Nobody ever trespassed. It was really, so I mean, they have a utility that's built into the fiber of my soul, where the thought of not having at least a rifle so that I could put my dog down if he were, wounded or badly hurting, kind of makes me, scared. I don't know. That's just an attitude that's built in every American. So that ain't going to work. So if we can't do that, what are we going to do? Let's think about this mental health thing a little more carefully.
I found I just did a Google search for mass shootings since 1966 and ended up in Wikipedia. And it looks like an earlier mass shooting was in 1949 in Camden, New Jersey, that killed 13 people.
Oh, wow. Which we didn't hear about. But that was like 2 years
So-
before I was born.
So, do they have school programs yet that help people through mental anguish?
No, they just tell them to buck up, don't mind the bullies, fuck you.
And that just builds
It'll-
up, and then
I don't
that's not helpful to a human's emotional state.
Yeah.
There,
And I
there
think
was also a 1975 Easter Sunday shooting that
Oh.
killed 11.
What did I hear about that one?
That was
I
in
know.
Hamilton, Ohio.
1975, I was pretty drunk.
Oh,
I think I missed that whole 2 year, 1975, 76.
but it's just been kind of building and building and multiplying and multiplying since then.
So, if the government was able to pay all the people for COVID relief, why couldn't they have programs for schools to help people grow up and stuff?
Yeah, and well, that's why I'm an anti-theist.
Or
There are a lot
sorry.
No, go ahead, TopDawg.
Didn't they have like physical ed or something, or not physical ed, but what do you call it? When you
Mental ed?
learning, it was a program. I think I remembered it being in a school. It was when you teaching people how to cook or something.
Oh, home ec. Yeah.
Home ec, yeah.
Yeah.
Do they have that still?
Yeah, they still have it. You think mental health would be a class all by itself, but the thing is, here's the thing about theism, right? They think that people that go out and shoot a bunch of people are sinning, and they have the devil, or like Sal Cordova thinks it's demons, right? So they don't believe that there's anything you can do about it other than to pray and go to church. So they're not likely to get behind a comprehensive program to start teaching children in elementary school, in the first through sixth grade, how to be a human being, and basically the development of your brain, the fact that males are going to end up with this crazy ass testosterone, you're going to have crushes on the opposite sex. It's going to make you crazy. You're going to want to bully people. You're going to want to fight for supremacy. All of that shit is biologically based. And if we just got rid of this stupid idea that our mind was some kind of a spirit visiting from planet heaven, and we actually are biological, and there's something we can fucking do about our brains, right? Until we get rid of theism and spirit mind thinking entirely, and we look to neuroscience for our solutions and biology and evolution, I don't think we're ever going to make any progress as a race.
Mm-hmm. And I forgot already.
I'm a little concerned about that.
Oh yeah,
yeah. There's a big danger in basically putting a bunch of authority in a group of people to determine who gets to whose version of thinking is the correct way of thinking.
Well, there's only one version, and that's neuroscience.
Yeah, that's what
I
I want. I want a handful of scientists telling me that I think wrong and I should be changed.
Well, yeah, we just like morality. It's always going to be about humans getting together and using some fucking common sense. I mean, we're not going to, and that's a big pushback against scientism. That it would end up being genetic engineering and all of that. No, it doesn't have to be like that. We're still human beings. We can still negotiate with each other, decide what's sensible and what's not sensible. And there are differences in human beings, and but it's all based in physicality. It's based in neuroscience. It's based in our brains, how we develop. And
but the problem you run into is the people that get to determine what is sensible.
Well,
shouldn't there be a vote or something?
Isn't this called a fucking democracy?
I mean, is that what you want? Really? You want a handful of people to vote the way that you think is wrong, and then you have to be brainwashed?
Well, it's not brainwashing.
No, I'm not talking about brainwashing. I didn't brainwash my kids when I told them. Yeah, I told my kids when they were like 10, 11 years old what it was going to be like to have a crush on a girl. And I just talked to them. I didn't brainwash them.
I mean, we could call it whatever you want. You want to call it re-education? Does that make you feel better? It's the same thing.
No, that doesn't make me feel better because that's right out of fucking 1984, isn't it?
Yeah, well, what other word do you want to call it? It's still the same thing.
No, a mental health class. It teaches you about how to have a human brain. I mean, what's wrong with just teaching?
That's what
I mean, we're not talking about fucking changing them. We're talking about teaching them. There's a difference.
It's learning how to think.
Well, that's just philosophy.
Danny.
That's what philosophy is. Learning how to think.
Okay. Okay, then fine. Have a fucking I call it a philosophy class instead of a mental health class. But I mean, Jesus Christ, kids, like when you're a teenager, you have no fucking no one has ever talked to you about any of this stuff. So if you haven't read books, how would you have any idea what's going to be thrown at you? And then, as you go through adolescence.
I was raised appropriately by my family. I was taught a bunch of this stuff.
Yeah.
I understand you normies decided to destroy your families and separate out into very small groups and broke apart and basically lost all your culture. But
who did?
You, the normies. That's what I call basically everybody.
Oh, okay. So how did your family raise you? What was the tactic?
I don't know, pretty communally. I was taught all sorts of things. I'm not really sure what you mean by tactic. I was taught the best ways to live, the reason why those are the best ways, and also how to critically think.
And was it like a secular upbringing?
I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at it. I think most people would say it was secular. I would say it was very religious. It just wasn't following any religion.
Okay. Okay. So that's what I'm talking about, Cerberus. I'm talking about teaching that shit in school. The stuff that you were taught, the stuff that I should have been taught and wasn't. Because I know, when adolescence arrived, I had no fucking idea. I didn't know what was going on. I mean, I was all over the place. When my kids hit adolescence, I had prepared them for just tons of different things, and they rolled through it, like intellectuals. It's like, like one of them came to me and said, "Dad, I think I have that thing you were telling me about, that crush thing. What do I do?" I mean, who goes to their parent and asks them what you do about a crush? If I'd went to my dad and asked that question, he would have fucking kicked my ass.
My dad, when I turned 15, my dad literally took me to Dairy Queen on Valentine's Day and had me ask girls out until one said yes.
Oh, cool. Yeah, parenting. But we're not going to get every parent to do that, so let's teach it in school. What's wrong with that? I'm not talking about fucking brainwashing or singling kids out and fucking.
But the thing is, you can't teach that in school.
Why?
I mean, it's going to change literally based on where you are and like what you are. For one,
you're supposed to still be your individual self. It's
science is science,
work in progress.
Yeah. But so much of this isn't just like I researched this. This is how people work. People work in all sorts of different ways that are not compatible with one lesson.
Oh no! I mean, there's a lot too, but there's a lot that we all have in common. I mean, we all get that testosterone rush as males, and we want to bully. And there's this whole mating thing that comes up. Like all human beings mate. I don't know if you knew that or not. But there are commonalities that we can teach and look out for.
But what I'm getting at is all this stuff. It really only works when it's personalized. The simple fact of having a standardized class, even if it teaches a few things, it will not teach you what you need to know.
But it teaches you some of it. I mean, is it hopeless?
I mean, I'm sure you'll get a handful of people that actually learn what they need to know. I think most of the people will not learn what they need to know.
Are we talking education in here?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, fill me in. Let me explain.
Oh, you're an educator.
Yeah,
So
I just got done teaching high
educating.
school.
Yeah.
So we're
What you do.
talking about educating people so they can grow up to be rational and respectable and stuff in school. So
Have some
So-
idea what to do with depression, or how to deal with depression, or how to deal with drugs and alcohol.
yeah, that's
yeah.
it.
In an
I mean-
educational setting?
Fuck yeah! Do they even teach? Do they teach anything about addiction in school, in high school?
Other than just say no, not really.
Yeah, they don't. That's
So
crazy.
I haven't obviously taught at every level, and the larger the school, the more variety of extracurricular and classes you can take, obviously. But the only time I've seen that sort of conversation happen would be in like a psychology class or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you don't cover it in at least basic biology classes, so.
It should be in like a home ec, like a an extra thing in home ec, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, it's not really a home ec topic, though. I mean,
It's home education is home ec, right?
yeah, but how is depression and alcoholism home education?
Isn't it? Kind of.
Well, home ec's about cooking normally, but
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's another thing. I mean, added on to it.
You're
Should
talking
be
about,
a
it sounds to me
program.
like you're talking about what they used to do maybe in health class. I don't know if they, what kind of health class curriculum they have anymore, but
Well-
that's where parents get all upset about what they're teaching, because if they teach them about
sex.
contraception, because like even though the kids are going to fuck, we all have to pretend
yeah.
that they're not going to, and so they get upset and keep it out, or just keep a barely scaled down review of sex education. But I don't know if they cover depression or bipolar or cutting and some of the other things that
so a good way to look at these questions, Scott, is what do you want to teach and what do you need to know before you enter the classroom? That's what separates education from like preaching, essentially, right?
Wait, but it's not
Right.
this simple, right? So the way human beings learn to act is cultural, right? And how people deal with sex is cultural, right? And the main support
Oh,
system,
the
main support system for people is their culture. And
I don't like that.
well, that's fine. That's fine. You don't need to like it. This is just how human beings work. And when you teach something
Bullshit.
as in like this is the proper way sex should be, all you're doing is destroying culture, which destroys their main support system.
All right.
Oh, bullshit. Bullshit.
Hey,
Bullshit.
Speed.
All humans are
let
the
me
same.
ask. Let me ask.
That's my point.
Can you give me an example of sex in a cultural setting?
Yeah.
What is
Yes,
something
and-
that's culturally sex?
Servers.
Oh, I thought you said speed. I mean, how you actually get a wife would be one thing.
Well, that's not sex. That's relationships.
Oh no, it definitely is sex where I am.
Oh, wait a minute. No, okay, so you're telling me that in what country do they do it differently where you don't meet a girl and you're attracted to her?
Where you don't
Where-
meet a girl and you're attracted to her.
Yeah, what culture doesn't have the scenario where boys and girls get together and they have an attraction to each other? What
I'm not
culture
sure.
doesn't
I
do
think
it
they all
that
have
way?
that.
Okay, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. Common core. I'm talking about
Speaking
human
of-
beings.
Yeah, but
speaking
how
of birds
you
and
do it?
bees, here's Brain Bug in the side chat.
how you go
Hey,
about
Brain
it,
Bug.
how you go about it, and where the boundaries are, and how people should act. Those are not the same everywhere.
Well, you're not gonna. Yeah, stay away from that shit. I mean, you don't have to fucking change culture.
But, well, what
Okay,
does that have to do with
We're
sex?
talking about. We're
But
talking
how-
about the basics.
But how are you going to teach someone how to have sex when it's relying on that and it's different for everyone in the classroom?
You don't have to teach them how to have sex. You have to teach them why they want to, or what it's going to feel like.
Yeah,
what it's going to feel like to want to.
Cerberus, what was your sex ed like? How they didn't teach? Did they teach you how to have sex?
Oh no, my parents taught me how to have sex.
Like,
Right.
Yeah,
So,
that's a good thing.
Like super simple P goes and V stuff, I assume, right?
sex ed was basically watered down biology class.
Yeah.
It doesn't really teach you anything you don't already know by the time you're there.
In the 60s, all they taught us about was gonorrhea. That was it. Gonorrhea. That's all. We were so fucking afraid we all went home and scrubbed ourselves. That's all they taught us about is sexually transmitted diseases.
It was good.
And we didn't even have AIDS yet.
See, I'm fine with that. If you want to teach everyone about the dangers that you face when you're, just going about having sex unprotected, that's fine. But you're not telling them.
Why do we have this? Why we have this video of Sal on this corner when we're talking?
Oh, I was just gonna play a couple clips. I was gonna play a couple clips from Sal, but I can.
I mean, just saying that Sal wouldn't like that we're talking about stuff like this, right?
Oh yeah, well, that is a good reason to have the video up. Then, thank you. You just convinced me to leave it on the screen because he wouldn't like us talking about sex.
So, Cerberus, I'm really not seeing what you're asking for or what you're asking to change in this whole conversation. Like, you want in high school, you want teachers to do better at teaching what?
No, that's what I want. That's what I want. Cerberus is pushing back on that. So my idea is that they have mental health curriculum or how to be a Homo sapiens curriculum. And we talk about what it's going to be like to basically be an adolescent, what it's going to look, what life phases are, what maybe what alcoholism is like, what drug addiction is like, all of that shit. I think we could do better with mental health, what it's going to be like to get angry and to bully and to be bullied. And they need to teach that in school instead of just what they do is they cordon it off in the hallways and pretend it doesn't fucking exist. But you got big males bullying little males. You got Maddoxes bullying, Cordovas. You got, to put it in personal terms or creationist terms. And why don't they teach that shit in school? Why don't they have a class where they talk about bullying, why it happens, what happens in males, and then show raccoons doing the same fucking thing? Because if you go out in the hallway and you think you're some big ass fucking alpha male or alpha wolf, and then you have to look at raccoons acting the same way, or monkeys, or mice biting each other, and you're compared to that, it might give you pause. You might think, I'm a mammal, and why am I doing this? Why do I feel the need to push somebody into a locker when there's a pretty girl standing by? Why does that happen?
I don't know. Why don't they teach kids how to defend themselves?
Well, that ain't gonna fucking help.
How's it not?
The kids
It's
will
gonna
misuse
help
it,
unless
maybe.
the guy's 6'2", and
They're afraid of it.
But the thing is that you don't have to be able to beat everyone. You'd have to make it not worth it bullying you.
Why don't they teach why the fuck we would do that sort of shit in the first place? Why would we bully each other? When do you have that feeling?
Teaching someone why they would do it doesn't keep it from happening.
It would go a long way to helping.
But
I mean, it would give somebody a conversation.
I gotta fight back against that, Speed. I don't think
remove you.
I don't think your rationale is going to translate the same way that a high school or middle school's brain works. Like, you can see big picture. 16-year-olds can't see big picture. So explain to them that they have this extra built-up aggression because of their hormones ain't going to mean crap to them. They're just going to write that down on the test and forget about it.
My kids figured it out when they were 10 years old.
Well, your kids did. Did everyone in the school the kids went to did? Probably not.
Okay, wait, but there's a difference between learning the words someone said to me and regurgitating it and understanding it.
Yeah, okay. So you're talking about the dumb kids.
It's not
supposed
dumb
to be
kids.
personal.
You need to teach to an entire school. You can't teach to Speed's 2 children. You can't build a curriculum around that. If you want to talk actual curriculum.
Okay, if you don't pass a mental health test and you don't show a deep understanding of the topic, then you don't get to be an adult. How about that? You don't get to graduate.
I'm actually fine with that. I think that you should be held in high school until you pass. Period.
Yeah.
Well,
you gotta figure this shit out. I don't know.
That's
Anyway.
again that you run into a lot of other issues there.
Definitely.
I could definitely say out loud, every teacher would agree with me. I've passed kids just to get them out of there before, because having that little piece of paper means a lot in your life, and not having a little piece of paper discredits you from things that you wouldn't otherwise. You know, is it worth ruining someone's life just because they aren't very good at polynomials? Not really.
Well, what do you think about that?
That's an issue. That's an issue with what we teach. Some things are not actually necessary and should not be a requirement.
Yeah.
And now we'll go into another topic here. I mean, how do you determine that on a school size scale, right?
Well, it's really easy. You ask all the adults, hey, what are all the skills you've actually used that you've learned in high school?
And every adult will tell you something different.
Oh, definitely. But you don't think there's going to be a huge overlap in what most of them didn't use?
No,
Really?
definitely not.
I don't think so. How many adults do you think use I can't even say the word. The quadratic equation. How many do you think?
Every engineer you've ever met,
How many
every
peop- how many
scientist
people-
you've ever met.
How many people went through high school do you think are those people?
And you know what? Quadratic equation is probably not required education for some people, because that's algebra 2.
No.
And geometry, algebra 1, may be all you need to graduate.
I learned it. Algebra 1, middle school.
So if you like something, then you should learn it from YouTube or something, right? It's like people that have already done the
I'm not
learning
saying
or studying, and then you can if you want a job or something,
I'm not
then
saying
you can get it from other people.
I'm not saying get rid of the class, but I'm saying that someone that wants to be a writer, right, or someone that wants to be a chef, or there's name a whole bunch of other things. They don't need fucking algebra.
What?
I say what? Tell me why a chef needs algebra.
Why a chef needs algebra? Why someone who's managing inventory and budgeting a restaurant needs to understand slightly better than addition subtraction? You can't rationalize addition of fractions and stuff like that in recipes. If I need to make enough soup to feed 500 people, and each cup of soup requires a third of an onion, how much onions do I need to buy? That's not super introductory algebra. That's at least intermediate algebra conversations you need to have there. A chef needs to know that stuff. There you go.
No, a chef needs.
But that's kind of another topic, whether you need math or not. So,
yeah, we did slide off topic. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
A chef needs a specialized math class that doesn't cover the whole subject.
Well, then you have, how many teachers do you need to teach these 15 different math classes for what these students might think they might want to do 5 years after high school?
Yeah, you need.
Okay, but guys, I started out this conversation talking about how we could probably prevent things like 8 people getting murdered last night in a FedEx building, and I don't think math has a lot to do with that. But
according to Cerberus, it doesn't. I don't know.
But here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. Okay, I brought it up that we should have a mental health class. We should try to teach our kids better in order to get behind some of these problems. And none of us can even agree on the fucking basics. So this makes me feel absolutely fucking hopeless for you guys. I'm 70 years old. I'm checking out soon. You guys are going to have to fucking deal with how many mass shootings, how many suicides, how many fucking new drug addicts and alcoholics. Good luck, motherfuckers. we can't even decide on a basic mental health curriculum. And
why can't we have a list of all the things, all those different ideas, and put them to the test, like a scientific test, hypothesis and stuff. They test each one and all that.
We can't even agree that there's some change that we can make, that we can make a change
stuff down
to make it different. I mean, God, go ahead, brainstorm on it, and we'll talk about it again on Monday if you want.
You know what I'd be for? Teaching kids how to spot mental illness.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
But then it gets a little judgy.
How do you spot mental illness?
Right? It has all sorts of problems, because now you have 15-year-olds thinking everyone is mentally ill.
Mentally ill, right? Yeah. You got to be careful. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe we could all brainstorm and come up with a curriculum that would work and would make a fucking difference. It's got to be something that's going to make a goddamn difference. Otherwise, you're just fucked. You know, you want to be fucked? We don't want to be fucked. Let's use our brains, for Christ's sake. Anyway,
It's not mental illness that we're trying to talk about. Probably it's more mental problems because everybody has that.
yeah, was the
So
guy
mental illness is a
mentally
more
ill that
serious thing.
killed 8 people
Yeah.
last night?
I'm saying that's a more serious thing, but I'm saying like mental problems everybody has, so that's why people can spot everybody having a problem.
Yeah, and that kind of leads me to this. That leads me to this right here. Let me just play this clip. So let's see what Cell Show is about.
Greetings, everybody. I'm Salvador Cordova.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Welcome to the Evidence and Reasons for the Christian Faith video channel.
Okay. Evidence and Reasons for the Christian Faith video channel. And then I went ahead a little bit and I found this.
I'm happy to have discussions with qualified individuals and who are willing to critique my work with some level of expertise. I'm fine to take questions from people that are, if I said something that they misunderstood. I'm sorry to say something really mean, but I'm really not interested in debating high school dropouts that have burned their brains out on drugs and alcohol. Okay.
Who's he talking about? Who the hell is he talking about? Could it be the friend that he had who talked to him very honestly about his past life and drug and alcohol addiction, and the fact that I grew up in a poor community where dropping out of high school was kind of what we were taught to do? And these are reasons and evidences for the Christian faith. This is a motherfucking Christian. And it's like, and Sal Cordova, I'm probably one of the few people that came at you on topo isomerase and your stupid idea about nuclear import signals in detail, and you're calling me a burned out drug addict, high school dropout? Go fuck yourself, Sal. I just wanted to get that out. And the rest of the stream was useless, so don't watch. Emery Moyna does a thing where he believes that seminaries, you go in a Christian and you come out a Gnostic. And he was pushing back on all of the liberal left programming that they do in seminaries now. And so Moyna talks for the next 2 hours about it, I think, or something like that. I'm not sure what his point was, but anyway. So I think that was kind of a scumbag thing for Sal to do. I mean, I'm pretty open about the wonderful thing, and I would not change my drug addiction and my alcoholism in my life, even though it took big bites out of my life. I am grateful that I got to understand that shit from the inside. And in that manner, I can help people who are suffering.
Think of it this way, too, Speed. Let's take what you've told him about blobbity pharmacease or whatever it's called. And okay, let's say you're burnt out. If you disregard the fact that you're burnt out, he still has to do something with that information about the blobbity pharmacease stuff.
Yeah, the blobbity pharmacease.
Yeah, it's still there. He has not dealt with it. He's just trying to shrug you off. What's that called? What fallacy is that?
Yeah. I don't do fallacy, so somebody help me.
Yeah, so it just seems kind of cowardly.
He's cowardly.
What you said, but just to deal with the past that you were honest and open and a bit vulnerable about. That's kind of a shitty thing to do. So
yeah,
Sal
and he probably
Sal, but he's pretty shitty Sal right now.
And every time he goes to the bathroom, he probably listens to my weather report while he's on the toilet, where nobody can hear him do it. And he's like, "Oh God, yeah, drug addict, high school dropout." What an asshole. Anyway, so which launches us into the whole creation discussion, unless you guys want to keep fighting about education.
I'll fight all day long.
I'm game for whatever, so.
Yeah, I don't have any whatever. So whatever you guys got. So there was a debate between Havend last night and
Science Side Up.
yeah, Science Side Up. Somebody brought it up, but I had not looked at it because I really don't. For some reason, modern day debate kind of got boring for me. I don't know why.
Well,
Yeah,
much of the same. Too much of the same. Although I was glad to see Maddie get out there and get some exposure for her channel, because it's a really great channel.
Yeah.
Like, she has this ongoing series about the big climate cycles that we have, and it's she keeps it short. And if you ever want to talk about the weather, she can really load you up on facts.
Yeah, I just put her YouTube channel in the chat, and I will put it in the description of this video. So the featured channel of the day, whatever. Yeah, there's some really good stuff out there.
She was also an instructor of nuclear physics for the Navy. You know, all those
Really?
young lads who are going to go into nuclear tech engineers or whatever their rating is.
Yeah.
Not engineers, but nuclear tech people, like on submarines as well as aircraft carriers and stuff. She would, in her stint in the Navy, she taught them that kind of stuff. So she has a good broad, I would say, physics as well as meteorology background.
We'll see as how I showed Cell's video. I'll put that in the description too. But with a little warning, don't watch this unless you want to hear Emery Moyna with his brilliant takedown of seminaries. Apparently, if you study theology, you become worse at being a Christian, right?
Well, that's that's just the take of somebody who's extremely fringe corner fundamentalist.
Yep.
I had a father-in-law that used to talk about how liberal I was going to become, because I went to a seminary, and I guess he, in a way, was right, because I no longer believe in the inerrancy of the Bible or God and that kind of thing. But at the time, it made me more conservative. So,
yeah, it's Danny. Danny's back. I was worried about you, Danny. So, don't make me throw you out again, Danny.
and don't say hello either. Just don't.
Hello.
Well,
How are y'all doing today?
We're doing great, Danny. How about you, man?
We were worried about you. We haven't seen you for a few days. Where you
I've been
been?
pretty busy, very sick. I think I had COVID. I'm not so sure.
Really?
Oh my goodness.
Shit.
Oh, gubbity goobity.
And it was perfect because I took off work and then I just did grad school stuff for a while.
Well, that sucks.
I'm glad you're feeling better.
What kind of
I'm feeling
symptoms you
better.
got?
Oh, the worst thing was fatigue and weakness. Well, fatigue and body aches. Man, those sucked. I had fever too. I got the rapid test, but that came out negative. But I think that was a false negative. I could be wrong though. And I'm confirming it because my girlfriend, or now wife. Oh my gosh, I'm wife now. She's getting the non-rapid, so we'll find out.
So yeah, but it could be flu too. Yeah, you need to get another test after the antibodies or whatever are more prevalent or whatever. But yeah, I'm all vaxxed up. I'm more than 3 weeks, or I'm almost 2.5 weeks out after my second shot. I feel like I have superpowers.
That must be a good feeling. I'm glad you got it.
It is a really good feeling. And now my kids and ex-wife will be with me in about within a month, and we'll all be able to get together without masks, actually, for just the family. I can go shopping with my ex again because we used to have fun. So anyway.
Nice.
Haven't been to a Walmart in over a year, or a Target or anything. So.
Oh, you've been getting everything delivered?
Everything delivered, yeah, for a year.
That's
I used to smoke a lot, so if I had gotten this shit, it probably would have killed me. So. Yeah. So I was careful. and I mean, my son is even more paranoid than I am. So if I had gone out to a store, he wouldn't let me back in the house. I'd be sleeping out in the backyard. So no, we have it's amazing. You can get everything delivered. You can. I did have to walk through a Sam's Club a couple times to get pharmaceuticals, but that was it. I belly crawled, and I drew my weapon every time somebody approached me.
These people don't social distance.
There are some people that don't get it. I've noticed that.
Yeah. Not
For
even
the
wear a
most part-
mask at Walmart.
For the most part in Minnesota, everybody has masks on. I saw one guy walk in the grocery store without a mask, and he got pulled aside and corrected immediately. So I don't know. People are pretty good around here. They've been decent.
I'm in Louisiana.
Yeah, I can imagine. A little more rebellion toward the masking up. Wearing a mask when you have COPD is not the easiest fucking thing. You do get less oxygen.
You have
So
COPD?
being down there in Louisiana, do you go out and gig frogs for your dinner?
Oh yeah.
No, gators.
You
Gators.
get gator. That's even worse. Even
Actually,
more bad.
here.
So this is just a little spotlight of. I'm not sure what Moynihan's point was about seminaries. Last week he told a friend of mine planning to go to the cemetery, wanting to be helpful. My friend asked what this criterion were for. He had no idea. I don't know. Anyway, apparently they don't like seminaries, the fundamentalists. Not sure why. Would have to watch the video to figure it out.
Helpful, my friend asked.
Oh shit! I'm sorry.
It's because they teach something different, probably.
Yeah, they teach theology, and apparently, like he said, a lot of them come out as like Gnostics or whatever. Isn't Gnosticism like a more spiritual form of Christianity, where you have like a personal?
Oh, yeah, it teaches you get your. I'm sorry, Ed. Did you want to respond? Okay. Basically you get an individual self-revelation about God. Dispensed through some intermediary, usually angels or something like that. But there's all sorts of varieties of Gnostic belief throughout history.
Yeah.
Gnostic means one who knows.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask. Did you mean to say gnosis or did you mean to say Gnostic?
I maybe it was gnosis. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't know much about theology, but I talked to a Catholic priest that really didn't have beliefs at all, even about the resurrection. They were more about the personal nature of their religion, and spiritual, but not religious particularly. And I talked to two Catholic priests in depth about it, and they were like really old guys. They'd been out to Italy to see the Pope and shit like that. And that was interesting to me, that there were these people that they weren't pounding belief into your head. It was more about the practice of Christianity. And they had a much deeper, they were really neat people, Like one would come around to 12-step meetings and give talks on spirituality, and he never mentioned God at all. It was pretty cool. So,
well, religion is a ceremonious thing, is a ritual thing, and Catholics do it the best.
they do, yeah. That's what Ellen Watts said. If you're going to pick a Christian sect, pick Catholicism because it has all the ritual, and when you walk into the church, you feel it.
Yeah. Makes you feel different, better, not better.
Right.
Better.
Yeah, and he liked the Latin because the Latin made it sound like even more, holy, and it wasn't about rationality. It was about the feeling, the connection. Which
Isn't Latin an invented language by the Roman aristocracy and administrative? No Roman people in Rome common people, they didn't speak Latin anyway. They didn't know what.
Oh, no. Oh, they did. They spoke Latin.
Did they?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you're gonna have like the people that were taught proper Latin and the people that spoke dirty Latin,
Just like there was Koine Greek, classical
which is
Greek.
exactly what they called it. They called it dirty Latin, and that's what
Really?
they called. Yeah, that's what they called French and Spanish, and what became Italian eventually was dirty Latin.
Uh-huh. All right.
Oh. Anyway, what else is up, guys? Anything?
Latin, it actually sounds like you will get your demons out anyway.
Me?
No, the
Oh.
Latin language sounds like you will get your demons out eventually.
So
Yeah.
Latin scares demons.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I guess I have new, or found a new, or not new, but for me it's new. Science-based YouTube channel. I posted in the private, or not private, but public chat.
What's it called? Snark?
Spark.
Oh, Spark. Okay. I thought it was just a really sarcastic science communicator.
You put it in public chat? I
Yeah.
thought I put that. I thought I had put that in the. I will put that in the description. Yeah, I looked at that. I'd never seen that before. They have a bunch of stuff that is interesting. I'll put it in the description.
Almost anything you can think about, you can search their YouTube videos, and then probably get a good answer because they're doing real life science.
I've been watching the volcano like habitually. It's the most relaxing thing I've ever seen. Except when the people start getting, they start roasting weenies on the lava while it's, and you're looking at the lava just flowing really fast. I mean, suddenly it could, somebody's going to get fried out there. They're trying to convince people to stay away a little bit because they're doing crazy things. And there's like two streams and they join up and you could get trapped. And if you get trapped, the only thing they could do is try to get you out with a helicopter. Or I'll say goodbye. Goodbye. Now you're the weenie.
Well, there's another volcano that I see this one channel. I think it's Geology Hub. I'm not sure. Maybe Orge knows, is keeping up with it. That is actually spewing out ash and stuff.
Whoops. I'm sorry. That was a mistake.
Okay.
He's not really here. That was
You think volcanoes are funny? But yeah, there's a little bit of activity going on in places other than Iceland. But anyway.
So there's places where
Danny.
Okay. Wait a minute, Scott. Where did you say that was?
I don't remember. I can do a little bit. Let me do a little bit of a search because it's a channel that I subscribe to, so I should be able to find it quickly. I'll be right back.
I'm seeing St. Vincent.
I thought I heard my name.
Oh, I was going to say you'd be proud of me. I've bought books on metaphysics and of course, the epistemology one called Reality, but that sounds like a metaphysics book to me.
Yeah, that's almost, by definition. Oh yeah, metaphysics. But who wrote the metaphysics book?
Let me take a look real quick.
Was that a short introduction to reality? That book?
Yeah, it was one of those short introductions. I need to see how much I like it to know if I want to buy bigger ones.
That was a good book. That was pretty cool.
Short introduction to reality? Good.
Yeah. They're also really easy to read when you're in the hot tub because they're so small.
Well, I never take a bath, so.
Okay.
Is metaphysics a real thing, though?
It's very
that's a good question. Whew. Well, it's real enough to write a book about it.
There you go.
Depends on what you mean by metaphysics.
It depends on what you mean by real.
Yeah, why do we put words on stuff if we don't refer to them? then.
How would you define metaphysics, Danny?
There's not a good definition. The standard definition is like asking what is there, ultimately speaking. Like, so is there just physical things, right? That's like a metaphysical question. But you're talking about like the kind of ultimateness of reality, because like there's this, of course, distinction between what's apparent and what really is the case, you know? And so I think it's trying to get past the appearances and getting at, okay, well, here's what's fundamentally the case.
But don't you think that very quickly gets into actual physics, like particle physics and quantum mechanics and all of that?
Yes.
Well, if you think that that's all there is, then you've done metaphysics.
Yeah, but I mean, what does it mean to say that's all there is when you're talking about really deep theoretical physics? I mean, you're talking mostly about mathematics. What does it mean to say that's all there is?
Like it's not. Well, I don't want to say that no one wants to say that metaphysics is the study of how things work, right? So I think that the physicist really comes in there, and that's where they do a lot of the work, especially with, you know, physical things, right? How do physical things work is a physics question, but the question of whether is there only physics, you know, is it all we can really talk about?
Yeah, but what else could there be?
Well, you know, there are.
Isn't that the point of the question? Is what else could there be?
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good. You put it better than I could have.
I know.
The name of the author. I'm sorry. The name of the author is Stephen Mumford. He wrote Metaphysics: A Very Short Introduction.
I was always just told it's the study of the nature of things.
Mumford. Yeah, I think I know that name. Yeah.
It's
Good.
still
I think
dependent on our human experience too.
I mean, I think metaphysics is useful because I don't see the point in not asking any question. You know, you can find out the question has an answer that is meaningless, but you should still ask any question.
Like, here's a metaphysics question. Like, what is an individual? Like, you know, there's like a phone on my desk and a monitor on my desk. What is it that are there two individual things on my desk? That's
physics. That is physics, because like the physics of space-time and objects being embedded in that space-time, and there being, you know, some metric, some distance between them. I mean, those are very deep questions. And what could be outside of space-time? And I use the word outside in air quotes, but I mean, what is space-time and why is it? Why is it so prevalent, and how are things arranged? What are some possibilities where we got that all wrong, where there is no space between objects? It's rather the relationship between the objects that defines how far apart they are, or how fast they're going relative to one another. I mean, those all seem like metaphysical.
That's just, yeah. I mean, I think what you said there is like a sort of answer to that question. But then there's some people like.
Danny, I think what Speed said is a possible answer, right? Because he just said there isn't an individual, there's a distortion in space-time. So then what is the individual, right? That's the whole point of metaphysics.
Yeah. So some people think that there are not. So that's just to say there are no individual things on my desk, right? That's just seems to be a response that I'm actually quite sympathetic towards, right?
So it's like humans are the human experiences and stuff, and then are part of the too, like how our language and communicate it to other humans.
Like I started writing these basic programs. I called them minimal metaphysical models, and I started out doing it with an array with Cartesian, you know, space, and then I put in a time layer, and then I started asking myself questions, and then it became interesting to think about how I stored it, like how I actually wrote the program and stored the objects. And I decided, do I need okay, do I need to have an empty array if I don't have an object? Maybe I can just describe the object and where it is. And then I got the idea of, hell, maybe space-time is like that. And there's just the stuff. And the idea of space and time between it is actually the relationship of the stuff to each other. And it was just an amazing little journey. But what I was originally trying to do is create like really simple, like agents, little objects with agency, and trying to suss out a whole bunch of shit. But you can develop programs, and they're called minimal metaphysical models. And I had a hell of a time convincing people that when you have a minimal metaphysical model, you can only talk about the things that are in the model. Like people wanted to add new features, like it can see or it can smell or shit like that. It's like, okay, fine. Now we got to change the whole program. We got to add that. But anyway, I just thought it was very interesting. I called that real metaphysics, trying to understand.
Isn't that theoretical?
Yeah, but it's also like theoretical physics, because I can see how physics could benefit from that sort of rethinking of what space-time is, that sort of thing. So I don't know. Anyway, that was just something I did about, 5-6 years ago that I thought was fascinating. But then writing the programs takes forever. So abandoned project.
Yes, but isn't there a thing like is it physics and not physics? I mean, why do we need a meta physics?
Well, think about physics as think of physics as an empirical question.
Okay.
Right. You if you want to know something true about in physics, that's going to be derivative of like experiences and tests and such, right? It's like whereas a lot of what happens in metaphysics is not based, like the conclusions that you make in metaphysics are not really based on inductive reasoning or anything like that, or like a pattern of past experience. Well, like to say, like if I'm asking if they're like bare particulars or if they're just properties, for instance, that's a metaphysical question. So like take the notion of a red apple. Okay. We call that thing an object. Now, is that object just a bundle of properties? The property of being red, the property of being made up of sugar, the property of having seeds, the property of having a certain weight. Those are all properties. Is the red apple just a bundle of those properties, or is there something called a bare particular that kind of is its own thing that holds on to the properties to make it that object? And so here you have two views: bundle theory versus substance theory. So the question is, do you need something that sort of quote unquote anchors or holds on to properties, or can you just have properties that are just sort of like bundled, whatever that means, together that constitute an object? And here,
it almost sounds like a Higgs boson or something you're talking about.
I'm not so sure. So I'm a bundle theorist because I think about an object without any properties. It just seems like that's not different. That can't be differentiated from nothing. And so I don't really accept a separate ontological category of substance or bare particulars, because I don't know how to distinguish an object with no properties that has some kind of ontology versus just nothing.
What's a property?
Well, I mean, you can either think of a property as sort of something like an instantiation. So like if there is a property, there's an instantiation of
like extension
and instantiation, like some kind of mode of existence, right? So the property of red, right? If there's something that has a property of red, there's an instantiation of redness.
Yeah,
Okay.
but that automatically creates an observer of that property. So is there a possibility of describing properties without any kind of observer?
Well, I don't see how what you said is true, or suggest that.
Well, okay, when you look at red, that means that what the hell? It absorbs the red wavelength, so you have some
it
kind of
absorbs
matter.
all the colors but red.
All the colors but red. I thought it absorbs red.
How would you see it if it absorbed it?
Oh,
By the way,
all the colors but red.
And by the way, if you put a red apple under a sodium light source, it will be black. So what's your problem?
Like those.
Yeah, because it
Like
has
those street lamps.
So
Those
anyway,
old
you're
street
talking
lamps.
about photons bouncing off some material, and I'm looking for something a little more basic in terms of properties than that, like extension. Like it's extended in space. So if you have an object, one of the properties is its extension in space and time.
I don't want to. I might be talking about. I might not be talking about the qualitative state of redness. I may be talking about some physical property, maybe.
Yeah, because it is essentially a physical property, something that's red. But I'm looking for a more basic idea of what properties are. Like
It's very
properties seem. Oh, sorry, but properties seem like a description.
Yeah, you can think of it that way. I mean, there are I think the simplest definition. I mean, some people think that they distinguish between properties and universals. So if we're just sticking with color for simplicity's sake, there's redness, and then when redness is instantiated, we call that the property of red. Okay, so some people get rid of universals, and then they just talk about properties. So there's the property of red, and then there's the property instantiated. I think that's a bit confusing, but the point is that when we make predications of an object, the sort of quote unquote right side of the predication, that's the property. So if I predicate a leaf with greenness, or then I'm saying that leaf has the property being green. If I'm predicating speed as being 6 feet tall, he has the property of being 6 feet tall. That's sort of there's a sort of instantiation.
Danny, what's the difference between a property and an emergent property?
Well, there's a lot of history with the word emergence. But I mean, that's a good question. Some people take emergence to be a cause-effect relationship. Some people take emergence to be what an object's relational properties are. So like if an object is moving, that movement is emergent from the object, and it's constituted in terms of relational properties. Some people take it to be something called a supervenience relationship, where you talk about unnecessary changes in one state lead to changes onto another state. There's a lot of, I mean,
could be the redness of an apple could be the emergent property of the light acting on the apple.
Yeah, I've heard it talked that way. Yeah, I've heard that sort of talk for certainly.
So I mean, your property definitions is getting blurry and blurrier.
Well, there could be properties that emerge from other properties. I don't see how that's blurry. Like the property of red might cause, that there might be another property that sort of explains that, for sure.
That just strikes me as a really complicated property with a lot of pieces, a lot of moving parts. So look for something simpler, like electrons. I think I heard that they have no spatial extension, but there's something, right? They're like a field. So, I mean, those would be like properties of things, having fields.
Everything.
Everything
the field.
Like two metal balls clicking on each other would determine some property, basically, because they can't smash into each other and occupy the same space. So it would be a really basic property that they couldn't occupy the same space. And that would be
because,
but that's physics, so I don't know.
Just they're repelling and stuff. They're not touching, and they could get repelling because.
Yeah, they don't even ever touch. It's just the fields collide on each other, and it's like pushing two magnets together. Same poles together. Somebody was doing that on a video. Was it Sean Carroll, where he was like pushing two magnets together, and it's like, what the fuck is that? I mean, it's really hard to hard for us to understand magnets, actually.
Magnetism and electrons or energy, you can, they're like almost the same. They just convert it.
Yeah. Somebody bought me this black fluid, magnetic fluid, and these super powerful neodymium magnets, right? And you could make these amazing little shapes, that looked like chaos theory, with these magnets. And so I put the black fluid up on my bookshelf, the one that's behind me all the time on the high shelf. And I had the magnet in another place. And I picked the magnet up and I wanted to walk across the room and put it with the rest of the kit. And that fucking black fluid leaped on me like a ninja and splattered all over my shirt and my face and it was like I was just walking by it on the shelf and it leapt off the shelf and attacked me. And
Wasn't that the premise of the movie Venom?
I think so. But I put that so I stored the magnets on one side of the room and the black shit on the other side of the room. And I haven't, that was like the day after I got it for Christmas, and I haven't looked at it since because I'm afraid.
So do you wander the streets at night and eat people?
I think so, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it was really an experience.
Do you guys believe in a theory of everything? And specifically, Danny, do you think there is a theory of everything in philosophy?
I'm not inclined to think so. I mean, if I understand what that even means in the first place, I'm not inclined to think so.
Okay, what about in physics?
I don't know enough physics I'm not a good person to ask about that.
Yeah, I was asking Leo about the extension of electrons. They take up space because fermions take up space. Yeah, but do they really take up space? Because I was watching something the other day. I think it was like Sean Carroll-like video, and they were saying electrons had no extension. And I thought I had not heard that before.
Like part of Ed, the reason why there couldn't be like a theory of everything, if I understand that correctly, that's just another way of accepting something called I guess something like a contingency argument where all things are explained in terms of a necessary fact. And I think there's big issues with that. Because that means that if everything is understood in terms of one fact or even set of facts, some necessary set of facts, then it would kind of destroy our notion of possibility. Because if things were to be different, then things couldn't be different, because if the current facts are explained by some necessary sets of facts, then they couldn't be different. Otherwise, you'd have a different theory, and then you would have no theory of everything.
Go on, Leo.
Is Leo on? Somebody let him in. Let anybody in here. Huh?
I could kick him out.
I didn't kick him out.
I could kick him out.
Oh, no. I was just off getting the book, so I was hoping you'd let him in. So you did good.
I did good. All right.
You did good.
Remember that at the personnel review.
Okay. Yeah. When your wages come up, have you got that check yet? That
I'm still looking for it. The bank says it hasn't received anything. So
I swear you give them the wrong address. I'm sorry, the wrong account information, because we try to deposit it several times, and I always pay my help. My co-hosts.
Leo, you're an astrologist. Are we close to a theory of everything?
No, I am not an astrologist. Astrology is bullshit.
Oh.
I study astrophysics and cosmology, yes, but astrology is just straightforwardly bullshit. Sorry if I offended anybody with that statement, but grow the fuck up and leave your fairy tales, in your childhood.
Yeah, I think Stephen Colbert pointed out the importance of astrology when you meet a girl in 2019 or 2019 who was born in 2002, you have to ask her what sign she is to figure out whether or not you should date her. And I think he was talking about gets. And sometimes it becomes important to ask them what sign they are. so you can figure out whether or not they've gone over.
Gutsick Gibbon asked me what my thoughts are, and I don't know what this updated cyclic universe is. Are we talking about? Because the only one that cyclic universe model that is really considered that we already know it's not true, but that would be considered the most likely to be true is Sir Roger Penrose's conformal cyclic cosmology, and for that I would just give an article to a Forbes article written by Ethan Siegel, who's a PhD theoretical astrophysicist and cosmologist, because he words it better than I probably could, and explains why we know the model is false. The model does not comport with our reality. In short, if you just go ask cosmologists, they'll tell you there's no reason to think that the universe is cyclic.
But I thought all that was out the window because of the two rates or the two different constants they measured.
That doesn't have anything to do with whether the universe is cyclic. That has to do with how fast the universe is expanding.
Oh, okay. My bad.
No, Penrose doesn't lean to theism. Praise I am is in the chat. And
I just don't think it matters whether Penrose is a theist or not. It's not relevant to the work. I don't care about the personal convictions of a scientist or scientists. I care about their work, their data, the observations, the models. That's what I look at. I don't care what they believe.
If Penrose is a theist, I'll eat my other cat.
I don't think he is, but I can't really comment because I don't know, because I've never looked into it, because quite frankly, I don't care whether he is. It's not relevant to his work.
Yeah, he's just trying to get rid of his cat so he can bring the raccoons in the house.
Yep.
Penrose just had a conversation with William Lane Craig not long ago, right? That was, how long ago was that? That wasn't too long ago. I do remember
that, several months, I think, but I do remember that.
Yeah, and he didn't lean towards theism then. At least I watched that. I saw that, and I didn't think so, but I don't know where Praise is getting that, but
I don't know why all these apologists saying, well, so-and-so is a theist. Okay. Oh, but did you know that Sir Isaac Newton was a Christian?
Einstein was a Christian.
Okay, he was also European. That has it. Pointing out the religiosity of famous scientists throughout history is no different than pointing out their ethnicity or their nationality. Yeah. It's just irrelevant. It completely.
Well, Einstein was Jewish.
He was Semitic. He was Semitic, but he did not practice. See, the whole idea of culturally Jewish. There's no such thing as culturally Jewish. There's Jewish, and then there's Semitic, which would be what cultural Jewish is. You're just Semitic, but you're not Jewish.
Wasn't he German?
He lived in Germany. Yeah, I think his nationality would have been German or Austrian, but his ethnicity would have been Semitic.
Yeah, I believe he had to escape Germany, didn't he? World War II.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard that Darwin on his deathbed. I hear that Darwin on his deathbed rejected quantum physics.
Who did Darwin?
Charles
Darwin?
Yeah, rejected quantum physics.
Why would I care? He's a fucking biologist, not a theoretical physicist.
And then it hadn't been invented yet, so there's no
problem.
I see what you did.
See what I did there? See what I did?
Yeah, I see what you did there, Scott. Went right over Leo's head.
What?
Zoom. That's okay. I'm looking up serine proteases in Biolek's book because it came up between CRISPR and Cell. And I think Cell said, I don't know. He said there were two proteins with totally different sequences that had the same folding structure. And one of the examples was serine protease. Anyway.
Also,
am I saying this out loud?
I did want to say really quickly, magnets are not hard to understand at all.
I think they're just horrible to understand.
No, if you understand what field flux lines are and how they behave, magnets are not hard to understand at all.
I can understand when mama hits me over the head, but I don't understand when one magnet doesn't want to go on top of another magnet.
Does or doesn't go on top of another magnet?
The ones that don't concern me the most.
So you mean like a North Pole and a North Pole going together? Why do they repel? Because their field flux lines compress because they cannot cross.
Right.
What is a flux line?
The field flux lines are generally what like gluon flux tubes would be in strong interactions. They're the pathways, so to speak, that the photons travel along.
That's just a rationalization, Leo.
Not really.
The glue.
I'm trying to get to the spirit of the matter.
I have to write this down.
Have you guys been following chat at all? You see, Lena and Praise are going at it about Joel.
Awesome. Oh,
I didn't know that guy was still relevant.
He's not, but I think well, the reason why is because Praise, I think, gets a lot of his science from Joel, and
Yeah.
I think that's
Not
what
surprised.
the problem is. Yeah, and they're kind of going at it here.
If you're
I don't know
not
if
getting
you
your
guys are
science from academic sources, you're probably not learning science.
Yeah,
That's what I tell people. You can watch my videos, but don't be afraid to cross-reference what I'm saying with what the academic fields are saying.
That would be like me getting tax advice from my raccoons.
yeah,
Yeah.
that would be a equivalent. Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
I must say, based on what I've seen on the chat so far in the last year, I have to have a conversation with Stephanie. I think Stephanie holds the secret of all this.
The whole universe. I know.
Yes.
Yes,
Stephanie
I agree.
secret of all this universe. And the
Yep.
next one.
Yep. A case in point right here. The monster within, it's true. Internal flux. That is the secret to magnets. Stephanie just nailed it.
I must have had some internal flux last time I ate at Taco Bell because that was the monster within.
Man, that's a bad flux.
The worst flux.
Why the fuck would anybody buy a taco from Taco Bell? They don't know how to make a taco. When I make a taco, it weighs about a pound. There's about a half pound of meat, bacon.
Back when they actually used real meat, I would get those big Nacho Bel Grande plates or whatever, and those were really good. But then I stopped having Taco Bell for a long time. Then heard talk of that pink stuff they use, that pink meat or whatever, and
yeah, the meat filler.
Yeah, or something
the meat
like
filler
that.
that was washed. They washed it. I think they washed it in ammonia or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Stay
I
away
haven't
from
been
the pink
back.
meat.
That's just way too much. Futuristic spaceship stuff. I don't want to deal with right yet.
Pink meat is worse than the brown acid. Stay away from it.
By the way, Speed, that black magnetic liquid you were talking about is often referred to as ferrofluid.
Yeah, that's some pretty cool shit.
Very, very cool.
Do you have one of those kits?
Nope.
You can really do some. But mine, I don't know, I lost a lot of my fluid because it like I say, it attacked me like a fucking ninja. I mean, it flew right out. I walked within like maybe 2 feet of it, and it flew off the shelf and hit me. Bad shit.
You got a magnetic personality.
Yeah, I guess I do.
Maybe you're just very attractive.
I was holding a large
Incorrect, Leo.
Give me a magnet, so might have been that. It just wanted me for my magnet.
Is that a euphemism now?
I think so. Yeah, that's deep. It has layers. Just
Like
onions.
Onions have layers.
They do, and
Apparently
they also
ogres
have
do too.
And they also have gigantic genomes.
Onions have gigantic genomes. Now that's something that I have to.
Oh my, that's the biggest
Gigantic
genome I ever
genome.
saw.
It's the biggest genome ever. But Standing for Truth says it's because God made them, give them gigantic genomes so that onions can survive in the Sahara Desert or in the North
Sahara.
Pole, or in outer space. They can survive because they have gigantic genomes.
So them should be the favorite people instead of you know who.
Yeah.
Based on the genome length.
What has the biggest? Is it a lungfish or something like that? One of them has like buco genes. I don't know.
My genome is so big it hangs to my ankles.
Yeah. Okay.
Where the fuck did Daniel go?
It's a child-friendly show, Leo.
Daniel.
Danny left.
I think
That's why
We
Danny
bored
was-
Danny.
forest trees.
Anyway, Danny, I'm glad you came back. I was worried about you. I really was. I only banned you for a couple days.
Danny's good people.
Yeah. Yep, and I hope you feel better. Take yourself some Tylenol and go to sleep.
Yeah, you can make a ferrofluid quite easily. I saw somebody do it with they threw some WD-40 in there, and then shit, what else did they put in there? Something else that you
Iron
did
filings.
something. Well, I think there was iron filings in there, but they put that and the WD-40 and then something else.
Yeah, if
I think
really fine iron filings is what you need, and then magnetize them. Is that what you do? Oh, you don't have to magnetize them because they interact with a magnet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
How do you magnetize a thing, by the way?
align all of
rub
its
them-
electrons.
Yeah,
You rub
you
it on
wouldn't
the magnet.
magnetize the ferrofluid. You have a magnet that works with it. So you have a neodymium magnet, which is really fucking powerful. And then you have the fluid. And
No, but, I mean, how do you make a magnet? I mean, how do you magnetize stuff?
Align its
Iron
electrons.
magnet. Yeah.
Align its electrons. Simple as that.
yeah, just take a coil, and make your own electromagnet, and then put it next to some iron for a long period of time. Some soft iron. It has to be soft iron.
Well,
Can't
it
be
doesn't
steel.
have to be.
Well, steel doesn't work because
I've seen steel be turned into magnets. They're not as strong as just an iron magnet. It's a ferromagnet.
Yeah, you got to. They have
That's
to
generally
move
because
around.
of the alloying elements that reduce the strength of the, magnetic
the
field.
crystals have to be able to move around and align themselves, and that's the key. And that's why
You mean the electrons?
actually the crystals in the iron.
I didn't know iron had crystals in it.
Oh yeah.
Are you sure?
Uh,
I mean,
speed.
remember,
The
you're talking to
crystals-
somebody who worked in an iron foundry. I don't think iron has
Speed.
crystals in it.
The iron itself doesn't actually have crystals that move. It's the spins of the electrons within the crystals that align to give some sort of remnant magnetization. So you're not actually like moving the physical parts of the material.
Okay. So you're actually moving it. Okay.
about-
Good enough.
How about the magnetic paint? Have you guys seen that?
Ferro
Is-
paint? Yeah.
They have
Ferrule paint.
you paint it on the wall and you can put magnets on it and whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, it's Magna Magic was one of them.
It's
Do they still have it? Do they have that on the market? I know
I think you can buy it. Oh, what is it?
a friend of mine like developed that, and he was like marketing it, and the business went to shit. And I don't know if he actually like developed it. The paint was called Magna Magic, and they were producing it or whatever, and they were trying to get it into like maybe like Home Depot and places like that, and it never.
I was watching a program and somebody was having that put
off
in
the ground.
in a wall on their house.
What would you do with magnetic paint?
What
'Cause
you
they
would like do it like where instead of like on a
For
refrigerator,
kids.
you just have like a part of your wall that
Right.
would act as like the front of your refrigerator.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
How
that's
thick,
what
how
it is.
thick the paint? How
Yeah,
thick does the
and
paint have to be to make
they
it work?
have it-
It's quite thick indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So-
they have it
so
different
is-
types, right? It's for kids, and you can actually paint it on, and it's magnetic, and it's like a chalkboard. It's black, so you can write on it like a chalkboard, and use eraser.
Oh yeah,
like a
that
regular
stuff is fun.
chalkboard.
It takes a little
Yeah.
while to apply, but it's
Yeah.
very fun stuff.
So is
Yeah,
ferro
a friend of mine was into that. Like I said, and the business never took off. So I didn't know what the hell's up with it, but yeah,
so
I didn't
is
know.
ferro
Somebody else-
paint made by wolves?
Pharaoh, not Pharaoh.
Oh, I get it.
Bad joke. I gotta head out. Take care.
Okay,
Okay,
Take
it was
care.
nice to talk to you.
my joke got rid of them.
Yeah. So yeah, magnetic paint is
Thanks
just
a lot.
regular
Thanks a lot,
paint
Speed.
that's got a bunch of iron dust particles mixed in with it.
Okay, yeah. Like I said, a friend of mine had a brand. It was called Magna Magic, but the business, I don't know, it just never.
shit. Well,
didn't do
let's-
well with it.
have you looked it up to see if we can still get it somewhere? So
Of course, I could call him and find out. He
Oh,
probably
okay.
has some. Like he
I'm
was,
glad
like
I
I
could-
said,
I'm
It's
on the
called-
website
yeah, you
right
can-
now.
You could still buy
What kind of like magnets? It would have to be like those paper thin kind of magnets that are
I
lightweight.
actually don't know.
Yeah, because it can't really hold anything. Like even
I
a
wasn't
fridge
sure.
can't
I don't-
hold very well.
I'm not sure if he was trying to.
It'll
I
slide.
thought he was trying to get a pattern, what do you call it? The patent for it or something, or I don't know. So I don't know what's going on.
Is this
with
the
that. I
guy?
never checked into it.
I got it here. Ferro
Well,
paint.
is that No, it's
No.
Well, his brand was called
Magnamagic.com
Magna
is his
Magic.
website.
It was called Magna Magic.
Oh,
was
metal
his.
effect.
Yes,
Okay.
so he's listening to me. I'll just type it
Yes,
in the private chat.
Yeah, I heard you, Leo, but I was trying to tell Speed. You're on his website. I never even went on the website, to be honest with you. I don't know. And I
Magnetic
haven't-
paint and primer. Here's some.
Yeah.
Is that it?
No,
Magnetite?
dude, go to the fucking private chat for Christ's sake.
I don't do private, Leo.
Magna Magic is
don't like it.
Leo looked it up. That's the name of the paint that a friend of mine was developing and trying to do whatever. I don't even know what the status of it is right now with him. I haven't talked to him in a while about it, so I don't know. It's been several years since I've even talked to him about it. I know it, but Magna Magic was the guy. This is the guy I know. He's a friend of mine that's a partner in this. He was partners with somebody else.
Oh my God, I gotta have some. Oh shit, it's expensive.
Yeah, I think it is very expensive. Yeah.
Oh my God.
But it's pretty amazing stuff. Like I said, there's a couple of different ones. It's for kids. You paint it on the wall, and then the kids can draw on it. They can put magnets on it. There's all. It's that's what it's for.
Anybody else in here watch the debate between Maddie, ScienceSideUp, and Kent Hovind last night on Age of the Earth?
No.
Oh God, it was so fucking brilliant.
Actually I fell asleep during it. I was listening to it, and I was so bored with it, I fell asleep.
Yeah, Maddie did phenomenal.
What did Mr. Hovind have to say?
Hmm?
What kind of proof did Mr. Hovind have?
None. As always.
What's
I have it ready to watch.
I have a question for all of you smartasses. Can we?
Don't put me in that.
Did I hear smartass? I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we synthesize oxytocin, and can we make buckets of it and give it to people?
I don't know.
I don't know if it would survive the digestion process is the problem and make it into the brain. And if it did, you may have a serious issue. You'd have people running around humping on each other's legs like dogs, sort of. I don't know. Maybe. I'm just spitballing here.
You'll die like a dog if you get an overdose of oxytocin.
Yeah, most proteins don't survive the digestion process. So that would be a problem.
Okay, we change the administration.
We have to inject it right into the brain. And I don't know what effect that would have on a person, but I don't know. It's a pretty simple protein.
It has been synthesized before, yes. In 1953 by American biochemist Vincent du Vignaud. Vignaud, I have no idea how the fuck that's pronounced because the French don't know how to make a language.
Non-apeptide.
Correct.
What do they call it that? Anyway. Yeah, it's pretty simple stuff, but you would digest it and use it for protein, build muscle with it. So it wouldn't make you love anything. It's a problem unless you'd
have to put it like into the bloodstream.
And I don't know what the fuck it would do.
And yeah, that might not even do much.
No.
I put in the public and private chat the 12 ways to boost oxytocin.
Pet a kitty. Pet a kitty.
Tell me one.
Sex is a really good one. That's like probably the best one, honestly.
Sex what?
No, sex. Having sex is probably one of the best ways to produce oxytocin.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem.
Yoga. Oh my God. I'll be right back, guys. You guys are on your own for 2 minutes, okay?
He got a door
Yeah.
ring at the door, and so he's going for his rifle.
Yeah. It's probably the raccoons. They want to be fed.
Yeah, I'm sure they probably get on each other's shoulders and ring the doorbell.
Yeah. I wouldn't be
Although
surprised if
Bruce wanted
they're man
trash
enough
can.
to do that.
he does overfeed those raccoons. They may not like doing that.
Yeah. But he only feeds it. What does he feed them? He only feeds them like dog food, right?
Yeah, cheap dog food.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chewed dog food.
I know they do like that, but you know,
Well,
I don't-
even he said that they're becoming too reliant on it. So that's not
right.
really
That's the drawback of it is when you do that, they just become so dependent. And it's the same thing like even like a dump. Like even if you had a dump with a lot of trash that's uncovered, animals come there and they're reliant on that, and then they don't hunt anywhere else. And then if that goes away, they're screwed. You know, they tend to die out, or a lot of them will die because they don't. You know, so
Yeah.
it's
Let's
kind
be
of
honest.
like
Do
it's kind of like
do
that.
we,
Yeah.
do we like raccoons because they have fingers and maybe a cute face?
I think so.
Why don't we speak like that about I don't know, beavers or even bears?
Well, beavers don't come around the house looking for food. Bears can beat the
When
crap out of
they
you,
do.
maul you to death.
Yeah. Didn't some woman she went out to defend her dog and she got attacked by a black bear? Dog was barking at the bear. That happened recently.
I would have just put my head out the door. Good luck, dog.
Yeah, you're on your own. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
So that
dogs
was
are
good.
definitely a lot faster than they can react faster. So most of the time they're okay, unless the dog is stupid.
Yeah, they frequently are when it comes to bear.
Yeah.
They get whacked. A bear can kill you without any claws at all, just with the force of him hitting
Oh
you.
yeah.
I mean,
Blunt force.
Yeah.
the dog must have some genes from his previous wolf kind of ancestors in his. And the bear is a forest kind of creature, and the wolf, the dog, is a forest kind of creature. So they should get along more or less, isn't it?
Bears and dogs have a common ancestor, or a
Yep.
recent.
Yeah.
What do we call it? Genetic. I mean,
Well, I wouldn't say they get along because they compete. You know, in the wild, of course, they compete with food, so they're not going to really get along, right?
Is that true that the wolves are feeding on the dead animals?
Well, yeah, they all wild animals do that, pretty much. I mean, they're all scavengers. They're going to take anything they can get, right? I mean, wolves do it, bears do it. Certain animals have a certain taste for, they don't like old food. Like if a carcass gets too old, their stomach can't digest it well. It all depends on their digestive system and all that too. Certain animals can eat more. Like look at a lion, right? You look at the lions in Africa, they can eat rancid food because of food just rots. So, carcasses rot so bad in the hot sun in Africa, but yet their digestive system can handle some really nasty meat.
Yeah, but those
Right.
stories about if you pretended that you're dead in front of a bear, that the bear wouldn't touch you.
It's got to be a right kind of bear.
Right. Well, a brown bear, that's true with a brown bear, and the reason for that is brown bears will a lot of times will kill, right? And then they cover it up and leave it and go and eat it later. Like if they're not hungry. I don't know. I'd have to look that up. Why
Have none of you seen The
they
Revenant?
do that?
That's
Right.
Revenant.
Right. Exactly. Brown bears, but black bears don't do that. Well, maybe they do. I'm not sure. Maybe black bears do that too. I'm not sure.
So has CRISPR been in the chat today?
No, I haven't seen him.
Not seen him.
Crispy is not here.
Because I have some information for him on serine protease and the biolec thing that Sal mentioned, which is interesting. But anyway, if you spot them, let me know. But we're almost done for the day.
So, Speed, did you? Did you catch any Praise's thing last night?
What was it about?
Praise had like a 10-hour stream last night. Going.
What was it about?
Right.
No.
I was in there at 6 a.m.
I saw he in there. I went in there at like 7 a.m. my time or 8 a.m. something around there, 7:30, something like that.
Yeah. What the hell were they talking about? I can't read.
I don't know. It sounded a little interesting, and it ended shortly after. They would, weren't really talking about much of anything. But then I heard there was a big thing going on just prior to that with that girl Candace. Have you seen her? You've seen her, right? The girl Candace that goes on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, she tends to go on there and rants a lot, right? She just kind of goes on and on. A lot of Bible stuff, and I haven't really listened to that much of her. I've heard her on there a few times, and she's just kind of like off the wall, all over the place, so I kind of like.
So that was her talking about something they did to her, or somebody got mean with her or something like that. I think I just spotted it, and then I was only there for about 10 minutes, and I spotted around after and tried to find something interesting, but there didn't seem to be much. So
yeah, I went back because I saw there's something happened, and I'm like, geez, what the hell happened? So I waited, and then I checked back, and I went way back to where she first came on. And what happened was she went after Gavin.
Who did?
She ran the girl Candace. She went after Gavin and went up one side of her and down the other. Him rather, sorry. And and what it was all about was she first came on, and Jay Pasek was trying to get on. And this is, of course, in the middle of the night. So Jay was trying to get on, and Gavin wouldn't let him in. Right, wouldn't let him in. So Candace
Why is Gavin
came in.
such a little bitch?
That's exactly what happened. Candace came in and actually defended Jay and said, "Why don't you let him in? What is the problem? Why can't you, let somebody have a different opinion and let them have their say? If you don't like what he has to say, you can always kick him out. But let's let him in and let him, say what he wants to say. Maybe it could be something interesting or something important or whatever." And Gavin wanted no part of it, and they got in this huge argument. And she went up one side of him and down the other for probably a good 10, 15 minutes, right? And during the conversation, Gavin got pissed, and he goes, "Be silent, woman," to her.
Oh, he did that again?
Yeah, Gavin's a sexist. He's a misogynist.
Oh, yeah. It was
big time.
They
He's
were
probably
arguing.
racist, too.
Yeah, Gavin's whole point was that if you let Praise in, then he's going to run a stream on, or not Praise, but Jay, and he's going to run a stream on you and talk about you, and he's going to embarrass you or something.
Right, that's right. That was the argument they had, and Candace said, "You know what? I don't care. If I'm coming on here and somebody wants to record it and make a stream about it, I don't care. I come on here willingly." And so she did actually make some pretty good points, and I kind of agreed with what she was saying to him. Basically, is you come on and say what you say. If somebody's gonna record this and then start talking about you, then you shouldn't come on, right? So she's right,
So why doesn't Praise show the names of the people on it, or is that because he's doing what I'm doing right now? As a comment
it's the same thing. Yeah, sometimes it's not.
He's always got a comment up.
Gavin is usually doing it, and he's,
Yeah,
so
you can't. You can never find them when they don't have a comment up. So you have to hunt all over to see who's, because I don't know which one she is.
Because of Gavin. Gavin's doing Praise isn't even in the stream. I didn't go way back. It was a 10-hour stream. I only went back a little ways to find out what the hell the whole thing was with Candace, because they were talking about it right when I went on in the morning. And I'm like, what the hell happened? It was something big, because they were ranting and raving about it. So then I went back.
Is this Candace right here?
She's got a blue camera. She's got a little blue. Yep, that's her.
That's her. Okay.
That's her. Yep.
The one with the camera on.
Yep.
Okay. So let's see. I want to see what her icon looks like.
She must have gone on and off several times. because
She's kind of crazy sometimes.
Yeah, she is kind of a little wild. She definitely is. That's why I never listened to her.
Okay,
much,
welcome,
right?
Evan.
Goddamn boomers in your light mode. I just don't fucking get it. You fucking weirdos.
I like light mode because
I can't handle it. It's so bad on the eyes. It's one
Leo,
of the reasons StreamYard just is like, what?
Leo, do you struggle with depression?
Yes.
Okay.
Did I have
Then
chronic
get rid of the
bipolar
fucking
depression?
dark mode. Get rid of your
That
fucking dark
doesn't
mode.
do anything.
Kids today, man, they don't listen to anybody's advice.
Professionals recommend you use dark mode.
Fuck them.
What the fuck is going on? What the fuck is this?
What the fuck? What the fuck is happening?
What the fuck?
It's
That's metaphysics, isn't it? That's
It's
metaphysics.
5 to 4, guys. We're gonna shoot it in the head.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bang!
Okay, before we go, I was
Make sure it's not
Okay.
accident your taser.
TopDawg.
saying that I have the picture on my camera area. The electromagnetic spectrum. Why is it called the electromagnetic?
Oh yeah.
It's kind of weird because photons you never think about as being magnetic.
What is the 5G in this scheme?
Microwave, or a
Microwave.
little before that.
I believe it's like somewhere a little bit less than where the 1 is.
It's smaller than 6G and larger than 4G.
Gotcha.
Yep. That's all you need to know. And it shoots atheist brainwaves into you.
It's actually kind of interesting, the reason why we call it electromagnetic spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one is it? I'm gonna have to look this up. I can't remember which one of the Maxwell Heaviside equations define.
It's 10 to the minus 3 what?
Oh.
10. What do you mean?
Okay.
I mean, what's after 10 minus 10 up 10 to the minus 3?
I can't see because there's a highlighted comment in the way.
Okay, 10 minus 7. 10 to the minus
inches
7
or something. I think if you have those like
inches.
little lines. Yeah.
No, it's not inches. I'm sure it's
I
not.
mean, it looks. I mean, the lines make it look like.
I don't know what it is because
It's not-
whoever
it's not
made this
inches.
diagram didn't put that on there, which is not a smart decision to have
Okay,
made.
what electromagnetism is measured in?
I don't know.
unit?
Well, it depends on what you're measuring.
Okay, I'm measuring
shit, David.
visible light. Visible light. Visible light. Do you like my Soviet accent?
You mean like what is the frequency measured in?
No, what was the unit that it's after the 10 to the minus 7 what? Potatoes.
I believe that refers to the frequency.
Yeah, I'm thinking those must be millimeters. The gradient here is divided into 10. Well, actually, it's one. I don't know.
If I have to guess, I think that's hertz. No, it's not hertz. Can't be hertz because it's going the wrong way. It's nanometers.
That's
because
nanometers.
it would be going from negative to positive the higher up the energy goes if it were in hertz.
Okay.
But it's nanometers because gamma rays are a significantly shorter wavelength than, like, say, infrared. So that must be nanometers.
Yeah. So, guys, David Neff saying having a hangout at 9. We're supposed to do paper trails tonight. Second part of that Cell Machine Nicholson paper. So we're going to have to do that at 6. No, David's is at 8 p.m. Central, I believe. Is it 8 p.m. Central? Yeah, 8 p.m. Central. So anyway, I don't want to overlap with him again because we did that last time. So what do you think, Scott? Can you do 6?
6 is fine.
Can Immutable do 6? Immutable, you out there?
He has my permission to do 6 Central.
Anyway, okay, we'll discuss it via text message. But
Well,
I
he said
want
it starts
to,
at 9. I think.
No, that's
It's not
9,
gonna take-
9 Eastern.
Oh, never mind then.
Yeah, there's no such thing as Eastern time. So very confusing. So, guys, we're going to end the stream. We're going to kill it Anybody have anything they would like to say?
Stay curious.
Well, just want to ask Leo a question when you're all done.
Okay. So goodbye, cruel world. We're getting
Goodbye.
out at 4 p.m.